Number 60. Dead Men Tell No Tales. Pandemic E type game. This is a game that you move around a ship that is collapsing. You explore the ship tiles, meaning each time you go into an area that doesn't have a tile, you now place a tile and flip it. The ship is burning apart. There's monsters you run into. You have to manage the fire levels as far as the heat. Otherwise, you can get stuck or get injured or get hurt. Those fire levels are dice that you raise or lower based on actions that you take. And you're trying to gather the loot and get off the ship before it sinks. Really good game. Really, it's another co-op. I like it, but there's other co-ops I like more. That is number 60, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
I don't disagree with it. I just find it ranked
higher than
further up your list, closer to 1 than I would have thought.
I thought that as well. It kept it there for the co-op nature of it, for the fire mitigation or the fire management, I think, which isn't something you see like in Pandemic. You mitigate the cubes or you manage the cubes, but in a different manner.
Sure.
But I mean, I liked it enough, obviously, to rank it 60. There's a lot of games above it. There's a lot of games below it that I still... The margin in a lot of these games is very, very, very low. Like within point percentages as far as like and enjoyment. Once you get to the top 10, that's really where you get to the nitty gritty as these separate themselves.
Yeah, sure.
But number 60, again, that's Dead Men Tell No Tales. Great game. I definitely recommend it, but we'll continue to see what's there. Number 59. Sports themed game, which is another thing you'll notice a theme of. Sports themed game that you don't see much of and you don't see much of done well. I rank this high strictly for that reason as well as the sports tie-in, the sports theme tie-in to it. That is Soccer City. Uniqueness of it, I've searched. I'm a very high sports-driven person. I love sports. So when I first started getting into the hobby, I looked highly into co-ops, 1. 2, I looked into dexterity, as well as 3, sports. What games can I get that deal with that? Sure. I've done research time in and time out. I know there is, Dice Tower has one that does sports games. Help me out here.
Oh, I don't remember. I think he's in Boston.
Yeah, he's located out of Boston. I've done a lot of research. He basically does all reviews on all sports games, near and far. But this is one that I found through him, and I glanced at the Kickstarter. I was able to kind of see the Kickstarter. This was early on in the hobby, so I didn't bite on it because it seemed too strategic for my nature, or it seemed confusing to my nature early on. I considered it because I was dating someone at the time that loved soccer and played soccer and stuff. But I didn't get involved with it. I didn't back it. Years later, once I really had the experience and I started getting like other sports games, I reached out to their website, fearing, which most Kickstarters that don't go into wide production, they die off and you never get access to them again. Reached out. The developer contacted me, said, hey, we have a copy. We have about 3 extra copies. We'll give it to you for a discounted price because you seem to like it enough. And I was able to get it for little more than the Kickstarter because, again, they were trying to get rid of it, I think, was one of the main reasons. But I've played it a few times. I've loved it each time. It's actually been semi-inspiration for a sports game that I'm developing, basketball-type game that I'm developing. But I've had some good times with it. It's fairly long. I recommend playing a half to start. But there's other games that are comparable in the same way where I would recommend playing a half to start. That is number 59, Soccer City. Number 58, 2-player game, puzzle. I don't know the word of it. Shapes, fitting them, Tetris shapes, fitting them into a diagram. in a certain manner. I forget what the term is for it. They have these types of puzzles all over the place. This is a 2-player version of it. I like this way more than the 4-player version of it. That is UBONGO DUEL. A, the speed element. 2, the puzzle element. B, the puzzle element. And C, the experiences I've had with it. I've had a lot of comebacks in that game. I've had a lot of nail-biting moments in that game. Really, it's Tetris, trying to fit those Tetris pieces into a certain puzzle faster than your opponent. The good part about this in comparison to the other game is that the other game, you all have your own puzzle that you're working on. This game, you have an identical puzzle that both of you are trying to complete faster than the other person. The reason I don't like the different puzzles working on is by nature, one of those puzzles may or may not be easier to just because that person can see it a lot easier or a lot better. As well as the scoring mechanism of, like, if you're the first person, you get 3 points. If you're the second person, you get 2 points. Leads to a lot of runaway victories, and they could be, a lot of times I see it as luck. I just got better puzzles or easier puzzles. That's why I like the two-person version of it. That is number 58, UBONGO DUEL.
I grant you that.
Number 57, IP. You mentioned it earlier.
XCOM?
XCOM, the board game.
Okay.
I really like the real time. I really like the app-driven part of this. You do a game, and you do a good app tie-in with it, you're gonna have a spot in my heart. I understand it because I'm trying to develop another game that I'm considering using an app, and I admire the work that goes behind it because I've tried it and it's difficult. So those games that do it well, XCOM is one of them. Again, it's co-op. XCOM, the board game, good game, number 57. I'm surprised it's as high as it is, but it's still a very good game.
And I have an iPad now, so
correct. So we can display that. I've kind of wanted to consider putting this on the TV, connecting it to the TV and having it display there. Tricky part would be space. I think we do have enough space on the other table, but that'd be interesting to try out. Or even with the iPad. Yeah,
at least the iPad.
Number 56, Z Garcia's top game of all time is Pandemic.
Oh.
I am not sure if I combined this with Pandemic Legacy. I do not believe that I did. However, they're ideally the same game with Pandemic Legacy story driving a story, which is another great mechanic that I love. Story-driven games.
Season 1 felt a lot like Pandemic. I don't think Season 2 is.
I'm hoping not. There was a lot of twists and turns. I loved Pandemic Legacy, which I believe we'll get to there. I love the twists and turns that came up. And we'll keep it spoiler-free. But number 56 is an oldie but a goodie. Again, a classic. They used to use this, or they're starting to use this more and more as a gateway game as opposed to like Ticket to Ride. But I've played this with my brother, who is an avid gamer. I played this with my brother-in-law, who isn't an avid gamer. I've had some good experiences. We had an amazing experience that he has up on his channel. Which, go check it out. Our Pandemic, what was it?
6 Epidemics.
6 Epidemics. Clear the board, cure the board, get back to the CDC before the game ends.
Well, it wasn't clear the board, but it was...
We got everything off the board. We got every cube off the board. We got every cube eradicated. Every cube was eradicated. We were back in CDC before the game ended, before the last epidemic kicked.
We should have just ended up in Miami. Like, forget this. We're not going back.
Yeah, I know, right? We don't need it. We don't need it.
We're done. We're retiring. See you guys later.
Don't play it enough, or don't play it as much anymore because it's easy to put together, but I think there's other games with newer mechanics or different types of mechanics. I'm the type of person I like to try new things.
Sure. But the expansions change it a lot.
Exactly.
But
that's kind of, if you're playing the base game over and over again, Z would probably disagree. But if you're playing the base game over and over again, you're going to have a different experience, but it's still going to have the same type of feel. I feel like which is why it's not higher on my list, I think. That's number 56, Pandemic. Number 55, Dice Mitigation as ships, exploring the galaxy, putting cubes on 2 different planets in that galaxy.
Yeah.
This is number 55, Quantum. Sam Healy loves this game. I think it fell into his top 100. I could be wrong. This is a good game to work as far as your mind of how you're going to turn those dice. Do I want a powerful ship? Do I want a speedy ship? The dice faces are the different types of ships that have different abilities, but they're also the amount of movement that ship gets. Yeah. So a 1 is more powerful in battle against other opponents, but they can only move one space each turn. A 6 is very, very movable. However, their special ability is a lot less than what you would get with a 1 per se, and they're less likely to be able to damage things. Because I think when you battle someone, you roll, and the lower number wins. The lower number total between your ship and your roll wins, I think, the battle. Per my knowledge, that's why 6 is hard, because you're already doing +6 on your roll.
Maybe. I don't recall.
But that's a unique twist to... sorry, I'm trying to find where I was at. Okay. That's a unique twist to dice movement and strategy. That is number 55, Quantum. Number 54, this game was a lot higher on your list. Tile placement. You get something, I get something based on where I place it in the orientation that I place it. This is Lanterns, the Harvest Festival. Got introduced to this game by another individual, one of my friends, Richard. He had purchased it. I ended up buying it because I liked the tile placement as well as the you get something, but what I place, what it helps me is also going to help everyone else. That type of kind of strategy portion of it. Introduced it to David. He really likes it. I know it's higher on his list, I believe, than mine. I think
top 20. Top 25. Yeah.
I know the expansion is going to change it up a little bit. So I'm kind of excited for that. But I've had some good experiences with this. Really like the mechanics. Number 54, Lanterns, the Harvest Festival. Number 53 is a co-op game with a hidden traitor, potentially. Knights at the Round Table we are. And we are going on missions to stave off the destruction of Camelot. This is Shadows over Camelot. I have not played the other expansions to Shadows over Camelot, nor I think there's a 2-player version of it, card game.
Don't play the card game.
No? Okay. You own the card game, or didn't you?
I still own it.
Yeah.
I can't give that away.
Really? I don't know how the expansions work. There's only
there's one expansion.
Yeah. Well, and then there's character add-ons, right?
Yeah, but the character add-on's actually good.
Yeah, okay.
You've played with the character add-on. Sir Bedivere, the Orange Knight.
Oh, okay, that was with you, right?
Yeah.
With your set.
Yeah.
Shadows over Camelot, really good. You're going to different areas of the board. It's kind of a balancing act of, do we go for the cup? Do we go for Excalibur? Do we fight the dragon? Do we stave off the Saxons? How are we going to do this? It's all through numbered cards that you're trying to meet certain requirements with those cards, as well as how long do we wait to start destroying the catapults that are going towards Camelot. Yep. There is uncertainty of who is the traitor, if there is one. I played this game once where it was the max players, meaning the max chances at traitors, and the entire game, everyone was fighting everyone as far as you're the traitor. Everyone was accusing everyone, you're the traitor. The one card that didn't get added was the traitor card. We ended up winning. Luckily, we got very, very lucky on that win. But it led to some great moments of, you were accusing me. Why are you accusing me? That made you look guilty.
Traitor, yeah.
Yeah. Those experiences are amazing. I've played with the minimum chances at traders and had a trader.
Yeah.
And that finger pointing that happens during the game is great. The thoughts that go through your head and your explanations and all that stuff contribute to you looking more like a trader or not.
I still remember the last time I played, I did nothing to be the trader. And one guy just looks at me and is like, David, you're the trader. And said, and that's a formal accusation. And I was the trader. But I had done nothing.
The great thing about that is even though they find who the trader is, game's not over.
Oh no, I went on and stopped.
Yeah, the game's not over, which is amazing. Most games, you figure out who it is, game's over pretty much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of game behind this. If you find out who that trader is, that trader could still run away with the game. Again, it depends on positioning of where it's at when that happens.
Yeah.
But a great game. Don't play it a lot just because of the length and the amount of players that it takes to be good. Feel good. That's number
6.
Yeah, 6 I think is good. That's number 53, Shadows over Camelot. Number 52, Disappearing Board, Matt Leacock.
Oh, Forbidden Island.
Forbidden Island.
Yeah. That's the gateway game, not Pandemic.
You think
More
so?
Yeah.
It's easier, right?
That's the family game. I think probably the other one that you're going to get to, that's the true game.
Oh, you think I didn't combine them?
I think you did.
Oh, okay. So 52, Forbidden Island. Nice little co-op. Again, you're noticing a theme here. You're trying to collect 4 items. You do that by moving around the board. The board is disappearing. You do that through card play as far as collecting those items through card play in certain areas of the board, so you have to be careful and manage that. We did a live playthrough in our 24-hour marathon.
Yeah.
Great game. Love it. There are better games, obviously. This is number 52, but there's, again, a lot of great games that aren't in the top 100 that didn't make the cut because the margin is so small. Number 52, Forbidden Island. Number 51, another chess-type game. I believe you have yet to play this. Dealing with 4 elements, fire, water, earth, and wind, I believe is the other one. Yes, something like that.
Does they go together?
Number 51, Ortis.
I have not played that.
Took me a while to find this game. They re-released it. I probably paid more than I should have for it because it's limited as far as releasing. Another one that went through Kickstarter that they actually, once they went through Kickstarter, they stopped producing it and then they started making an app. I'd be interested to see how the app works. But I'm very thankful to have it because it's got that puzzly aspect, that chess type aspect that, what's it called? Other games have, like the one that we mentioned, Ket 2.0. This has a little bit more intricacy. I highly recommend always playing it with the advanced version as opposed to the basic version. It does take some kind of experienced gaming to get into it. But as long as you read through the rulebook and both players kind of refer to the player aid and how each of those elements moves, you should be fine. That's number 51. Great game, Ortis.
Okay.
Number 50, without further ado, number 50. Another IP based on an app that was a heavy app that a lot of people played for a long period of time. This deals with diseases.
Oh, the pandemic, contagion, epidemic, the virus.
Plague Inc.
I knew what it was, I just couldn't.
Plague Inc., the board game. Falls higher than Pandemic, I believe, because I played Plague Inc. growing up.
You just have a twisted sense of humor.
I played Plague Inc. Before I was into board games. I played that heavily before I was into board games. When I saw that on Kickstarter, I was very interested to see how they would adapt it. With the different, Plague Inc. is so intricate as far as how you're going to win, how you're going to evolve your disease. This is the opposite of Pandemic. You are now the disease trying to infect the world as opposed to the people combating the disease trying to get rid of it, like pandemic. This one is how are you going to evolve your disease to destroy more of the world?
Yeah. Destroy better.
Destroy better, correct. So that's, I'm guessing, why he had suggested twisted sense of humor, sick sense of humor. No, it's really, I like I'm going to put dysentery into my disease, or I'm going to put a vomit. I'm going to make you vomit more. I'm going to make it cold evolution as opposed to heated evolution. I'm going to make my disease higher fatality rate or whatever. Just the different types of way you can evolve your disease, per se. It makes the strategy there for me a lot more interesting, I guess you could say. I haven't tried the solo variant. I have the solo variant. I haven't tried that. I'm curious on how it works or how good it is. Okay. I've played it multiple times. Brother, you, I believe I played with you.
Yeah.
Played it at some gaming cafes, I guess you could say. Very nice little game. It falls higher than Pandemic just because of, again, I like the tie-in from games that I played when I was younger.
So you were killing people in public.
So on to, that is number 50, Plague Inc., the board game. On to number 49. This is one that I was very interested with. I knew this would fall higher than the other game that started it all. But I'm surprised that the other game that started it all didn't fall in the top 100. Deck Builder. Legendary Encounters Predator deck building game. Now this could go along with Alien deck building game. I like comics more as far as theming goes than Predator or Alien. Predator I like as far as more as a movie than Alien. However, what changes it for me, why Predator falls higher, and I knew that it fell higher than Legendary, was the scanning. As opposed to Legendary, the enemies come out and you see what they are as they come out, whereas in Legendary, you have to pay first to scan to see what that enemy is, then you have to pay again to destroy that enemy. Yeah. I like that challenge there. I like that theming there as far as you don't know where Predator's at. It ties in with the movies. You can play through the first movie. You can play through the second movie. You can play like 3 different scenarios of the first movie or 3 different scenarios of the second movie. You can combine them. You can play as the Predator versus the humans. So 1v all. You can combine Predator and Alien where you do Predator versus Alien. That's kind of cool. Yeah. Lot to offer there. Great co-op. It is very, very challenging, more challenging than Legendary. But I really enjoy this game. That's number 49, Legendary Encounters, a Predator deck building game.
It is a challenge.
Number 48, I don't think you've won that game yet. No. I beat it once to get to the chopper once.
I only played it once.
And I've played it probably 7 or 8 times.
Okay.
The reason I haven't played it more is just setup. So that's number 49 again, Legendary Encounters. Number 48, Time Travel. Not many games do it right. Not many games do it well. Another Kickstarter of mine by, I forget the developer. I want to say it was Scott Alms, maybe?
Sounds right.
Could be wrong.
Minion Games?
Don't hate me, guys, if I'm wrong.
Don't worry, there's text here now.
But cool. Awesome. That's Loop Inc.
Yeah.
Again, I like this for the sake of theming.
Oh yeah, it's a unique theme.
It's a unique theme of time travel. Again, not very many games do it well. You talk to people and they'll tell you that. A lot of people that play tons of games, they'll give you maybe 1 or 2. This probably won't fall in their list just because it doesn't have exposure. Again, it was a Kickstarter game. Yeah. I've even went as far as reaching out to Tabletop and telling them when they were asking people to submit ideas for their upcoming season, which was this current season or whatever. I even reached out and suggested this just for the sake of being able to put yourself in the theme and dress up or kind of look at the different places you visited. I know comedians could go somewhere with that.
All the costume changes associated with this episode, though.
No, but you don't even need costume changes. Comedians could make a story with those different areas they visited and make it funny.
But like while you're going, go into costume.
Yeah. So this game deals a lot with kind of component management, how you're going to build your ship, and how that's going to tie in with the places you want to visit. Yeah. You build your ship with components using cards. Those components go onto your ship, which allow you to visit different places that require those components. It's like, I think, 4 different components. And it could be like 2 armor. This place requires 2 armor and 1 propeller.
Oh, it could be 2. It could be 5.
Yeah. It could be 5 different. It could be 3 of one and 2 of the other.
Yeah.
So you really have to build your ship. But the trick is after day 1, you go back to day 1, but you try and go to a different area.
Right, and you still have your first ship, but then you also have a new ship.
Yep, you have your first ship. So how are you going to use that first ship to accomplish a third area while your new ship goes to a second area? So you get the points for the first day for the first ship that you built that went to an area. Then you get the points for your second ship that you built on your second day and where it went. Then you get your points for what you did with your second ship and how you went to a second place. It's going to be confusing, but you get
It's time travel. It's time-winding. Nobody understands it.
You don't want to make choices because you don't want anomalies to happen, which give you negative points.
Yes. Like, you can't go to the same place because you can't encounter yourself. That just tears a hole in the universe.
If you go to a place someone else visited, then you get less points because the idea is you're a tourist company and you're taking people to these areas. So if someone's already been to that area back in time, other people are less likely to want to go there.
Yeah, it's not new and unique.
Exactly. So that's kind of, they're not going to promote it either because they've already done it. So it's a nice twist, very strategic. I highly recommend checking it out if you can find it. I believe it's still available on Amazon, but not many people talk about it because it was smaller production, Kickstarter. Again, the fault of that, I think. But I think anyone that plays it and kind of likes that idea would enjoy this game. It is a lot to follow, a lot to keep track of. Lot of high brain burner once you get to day 3, which is the last day. But you really need to plan your card plays and your component plays correctly so that you don't run into those problems.
You will mess up the first time you play.
Probably even the first 3 times you play. But after that,
you'll get better.
You'll get better. It's one of those games that has a high learning curve. But I like it strictly for the theme. The artwork's amazing, as well as the experiences I've had playing it. That is number 48, Loop Inc. This one you will give me crap for. And I even gave myself crap for it, falling this low.
Okay.
Dice. Real time. 10 minutes. Roll them. Try and get out. Escape. Really? Curse of the Temple. Escape. Curse of the Temple.
To 47.
When I was talking about this top 10 or top 100 list, and I was ranking my top 10. That's as far as I ever got without this. This ranking system.
Yeah.
That fell in my top 20. I want to say.
Yeah.
Now I have played a lot of other games since then. I have kind of adjusted.
25.
Yeah. I have adjusted based on simplicity, based on.
How much simpler do you get than 10 minutes of dice?
The frantic nature. The frantic nature can be tough, especially for new players, kind of mitigating or judging their time wisely, judging how far they should push into the temple before having to go back. It's really extended with the expansions, and I advise always playing with the Curses expansion. I've played with a few other ones. The Hidden Doors, I think, I don't like as much. I haven't played it with the Pits. I don't think we've had some bad experiences as far as being so close, yet so far.
But that
doesn't make it a bad experience. Just
no.
It made it poor planning or poor rolls.
Yeah.
I think too the dice rolls, maybe the luck side of it. I like dice mitigation, being able to mitigate dice, and it doesn't necessarily have that. Plus, I think again the frantic nature of it, the stress, high stress level, brings it down.
But that's what makes it fun.
That's what makes it fun for sure. But yes, again, this is in my top 50. So I really like this game, and it falls in my top 50 for a reason. That's number 47, Escape the Curse of the Temple. Number 46, we talked about this game earlier. The predecessor to it, Rob Daviau, created this, and the second version is coming out very soon. Pandemic Legacy fell to number 46. That may change once Pandemic Legacy 2 comes out. I'm sure.
No, those are going to have to be separate games.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. I'm saying Pandemic Legacy 2, I think, will be higher than Pandemic Legacy 1 for sure. I think that it will stay higher longer because I think next time we will probably pace ourselves.
Out of necessity.
Yeah, I think we ran into, and a lot of that kind of brought it down too. I think we rushed through it, and that's kind of what happens with Time Stories. That's what happens with a lot of these consumable games that have the story behind it, that kind of its campaign status.
Yeah.
You really like to rush through them because you want to know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
You don't like those cliffhangers, so you're like, oh, we got one more. It's only 30 minutes. It's only 45 minutes. It's only an hour. Let's do another one. So you end up rushing through it, which means that you don't necessarily get to enjoy it as much as you would if you took your time and did like 1 month per session, I guess you could say. Spending that time thinking about it and figuring out, man, like kind of getting that thirst for it again, building that thirst for it again, I think builds the experience. But that's 46, Pandemic Legacy. Number 45, play this game every time before its predecessor. Dice rolling, Yahtzee type. In the city of Tokyo? New York. King of New York.
Okay.
We'll play every time, anytime, more than I would King of Tokyo. King of New York, very comparable to Yahtzee as far as your rolling goes. That's basically it, is the Yahtzee rolling. The board management of where you're going to go and battling other characters I really like. I think we're going to say something?
It's surprising to me that you've been emphasizing simplicity, but King of New York, which is more complicated than King of Tokyo, gets a spot.
Why? It is still a simple game, but it's you can play that even more simple. You can play that even more simple where you don't have the military, you don't have that stuff.
Sure.
You could if you really wanted to, which the adaptability helps that. It's a level of bringing a level of strategy there that I can deal with and that new players can deal with.
Sure.
So King of New York, I think I will play it anytime because I can grasp that level of strategy more than I could per se. I don't know what extension, like Escape if you played with all the expansions at one time. Exactly, right? It's not that type of level,
okay,
you know what I mean, strategy.
Fair.
Whereas with this, I like it because it brings a variation to it that I think changes the way you play drastically. I know the King of Tokyo expansion that got brought up kind of helped with making it more strategic.
Characters.
Yeah, with characters and stuff kind of helped it be more strategic.
A bit.
Power Up, I think the Power Up expansion is what it is.
Yeah.
But really like this game. You roll dice, you try and kind of like a King of the Hill type thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is number 45, King of New York. Number 44, Hidden Trader on a ship. We have been talking about getting another play of this, but John needs to be here for that play. or we would like John to be here for that play, based on another IP.
Oh, Battlestar?
Battlestar Galactica, number 44. Falls low. The game experience, overall game experience, is, out of all the games I've played, is probably in the top 20 as far as games I've ever played in the top 20.
You'll remember your games of Battlestar.
Correct. However, the length drives it down.
Oh, yeah.
And the ability to play it numerous times in a short period of time drives it down. It is an amazing game. It's right up there, like Shadows of Camelot, I think, is what, 9 lower. Those both fell low because I overall like Battlestar Galactica a lot more than I like Shadows, even though it's 9 higher. They're comparable in time period, but every time I've played this game, I've enjoyed myself.
Sure.
And we've played with new players who didn't necessarily grasp it.
Yeah.
And I've still had a great time. I've never been a Cylon.
Yet.
But that's number 44, Battlestar Galactica. Okay. Number 43, we have only played this once. It has been incorrect the time we played it. Story-driven, based on another IP, on an island.
Oh, Robinson.
Robinson Crusoe Adventures on the Cursed Island. This game does an amazing job at consequences to your actions affecting your future.
Yeah.
I know that I'm really excited for, what is it, First Martians, I think is what it's called. Basically, I think it's First Martians, I think is what it's called. It's their retheming of Robinson Crusoe.
Okay.
However, I want to say that there's an app development tying in with that. I want to say that there's a few changes as far as the mechanics go for the basic, like the actions that you can do. But that I'm really excited for, and I'm probably, once it's general release, I'm probably going to buy it just because I really like Robinson Crusoe and the tie-in of consequences meaning something. Most games you do something and the consequence is immediate. Consequences, not necessarily through the game's forced consequences, but other players will make you suffer because of the decision you made and then benefit. This is all built into the game, and it's a theme that's also kind of helping me build one of my second game developments that I'm trying to work on that I won't speak of because I don't want people to steal this idea. But Robinson Crusoe Adventures of Cursed Island, that's number 43. Great game. Want to play it more. Number 42. This is a game where you climb up a mountain, try to get up it faster than the other individual, try to get it down before you die, basically. That is K2. Yeah. I would love to play the expansions to this. That's another game that I want to complete as far as the collection. Mount Everest, there's Broad Peak, I want to say, and there's one more. I like it for its tug of war of getting up, the race of getting to the top, the tug of war of the cards that you play on. Do I need to rest right now? Do I need to shelter right now? Do I need to go up faster or down slower? Whatever, because you really have to manage the cards that are in your hand. There's areas and you'll be affected by weather. You can kind of predict the weather fairly recent, meaning the next 3 days. Then after that, it's going to change. You really have to kind of push your luck there too is another portion, which is a great mechanic.
It's a tough game.
Yeah.
It's in no way does it simulate climbing a mountain, but in the board game aspect of it, I mean, it's nothing like actually physically climbing a mountain. But
Everest adds some of that, like oxygen adds and all that stuff. But yeah, I can see where you're going with it.
But I'm saying the challenges that are presented in the game, the decisions you have to make, are a basic level.
Correct.
That they give you a feel for it.
And you're dealing more with weather which is something you deal with in high mountains. However, you typically are more prepared or you have a better idea as far as how the weather's going to be.
But the weather can change.
Correct.
In an instant. I've never climbed a mountain. I will probably never climb a mountain. But I'm not speaking from any kind of personal experience. I'm just tossing it out there. Cool. But it is a tough game, and it's a good challenge.
There's also the cave, which is the opposite, going down a cave, which I want to try that one. It's same developer did it.
Okay.
And it's built by K2 is actually created by a avid mountain climber that did that as a career prior to creating the game. Which kind of shows where his intentions were, where his knowledge was when he was building it.
Sure.
But I love it. It's a great game. It's a nice little race. I enjoy the feelings that I've gotten playing it. That is number 42, K2. Number 41, the better of the two Matt Laycock paired games, waiting for a Forbidden Space or a Forbidden Ocean. This is Forbidden Desert. Forbidden Forest would be kind of cool. That would be interesting.
It would be Forbidden Jungle.
Yeah. I don't know what they would do. I know Forbidden Desert is actually now a shrinking board too, but it's because of sand as opposed to removing tiles because they're getting flooded. I like the sandstorm, how the sandstorm does as far as gets stacks up sand. I like this one. It's the same idea as far as you're trying to go find items in the desert to be able to fly off. You're still finding 4 items. I like in this one how you determine where those items are as far as digging up the tile, and it points to the column that it's in. Then you have to find the other tile that's pointing to the row that it's in, and then that's where it's at. I like the fact that you never will have a completely empty or completely gone board. In a sense, you will get where there will be tiles that you will probably never be able to dig up because sand is just piled and piled and piled unless you get a special card like a Doom Blaster. But that's by far the best one, in my opinion, out of the two.
Yeah.
Both great games, both great. Matt Leacock has done some great designs. But I personally like number 41, Forbidden Desert, a lot more than Forbidden Islands. I actually only 11 more than Forbidden Island. That's number 41, Forbidden Desert.